Hello guys, and welcome back to a brand new series called Double the Money. Now, this is a brand new TV show on Channel 4, so obviously pictures might be a little bit sketchy in this video, but we are going to be talking about the show itself, and I gotta say, just from watching the first episode, I feel like we're in for a lot of fun in this series. It's almost as if The Apprentice was a civilian show. I mean, it already is, kind of, but it's not rigged, or it doesn't feel as rigged as The Apprentice, and it also doesn't get taken as seriously. It is just a bit of fun, and it is quite entertaining. Everyone's really super competitive, but like in a really fun way. So we are going to be taking a look at the central premise of the episode, but before we do, I would just like to say thank you guys very much for the support on this channel. If you guys are enjoying this show, make sure to watch along on Channel 4. I don't know where you can watch it outside of the UK, so it might have to be 123 movies or something, I don't know, but either way I'm sure you guys will find a way, and if not, you've got my videos to keep you updated, so you'll get that. Unfortunately, this will be the only video for this week, but the week after, once I get back from holiday, you'll have some more videos on it. But either way, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you're subscribing. We're on our way to 900, and apart from that, let's get on with the video. So the idea of this show is Sue Perkins and the production team give each of the couples or duos a amount of money each week, and they tell them go away and double it through some kind of business. It's an interesting idea. I'm very excited to see how it gets on further into the competition, because currently this episode was turned 250 into 500 via any means necessary. Everybody made a good attempt at it. Some people were obviously more successful than others, and out of the 13 people, only 11 of them managed to double their money. So rather than talking about them in a random order, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the most amount of money earned to the least amount of money earned, and talk through their business ideas and things like that. So let's get into our first duo, shall we? So up first, we have Nissi and Ben. Now, these two managed to rake in £1,198.79 from their £250 investment. That is absolutely insane. Not only did they quadruple it, but they almost quintupled it, which is absolutely madness. They decided to go down the gourmet snacks and drinks market and essentially make stuff that people would want, and then they used their sort of social media following to get people along to buy stuff from them. Honestly, a very smart plan. I was very impressed with this. It looks like it was working. They were having a lot of success, so I can't really fault them for anything here, because they absolutely blew everybody out of the water. Like, by at least £200, which is crazy. Up next, we have Kath and Lynn. These two decided to also go down a gourmet food related avenue, and they decided to make gourmet graze boxes. Now, they made sure to sell them at £15 a pop. They made loads and loads, and they managed to pull in £918.53. They were actually the first group to finish and make double their money. They could have stopped at 500, but they went all the way to £918.53, which is incredible. Honestly, I think they absolutely smashed it. I think this was really good to see. They made all the food themselves, which is good, and I think they just genuinely had a very good attitude about it. They'd already made their money back by 11 o'clock. That, like, the second day. They had 36 hours to do it, and they, like, on the second day they'd already done it by 11 a.m. That's absolutely crazy. That's what you get for hanging out at a market stall and selling your products there. Up next, we have Faye and Claire. Now, Faye and Claire decided to do some fortune telling, but I'm not convinced either of them are actually fortune tellers, because this was quite embarrassing, because I actually don't know which one's Faye and which one's Claire, but one of them was going up to other people or like getting them to sit down for a reading and being like, I'm seeing that you used to have a dishcloth that you were really attached to, and you'd get annoyed when anyone ever sort of went against that dishcloth and used it when you weren't there. And this one was like, no, no, I don't think that's me. And and then the woman, the fortune reader, was like, oh, well, I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to stick to that. And then there was one time where she'd correctly guessed something and she literally went, oh, really? Oh, it was really funny that this was doing so well. They were charging £15 per fortune reading, which is absolutely insane, but it made them £767. Somehow it made them that amount of money. Like, genuinely, I was concerned for the British public after watching this, I won't lie. Up next, we have Natalie and Jack. Natalie and Jack decided to do a pub quiz for their money. We didn't get to see a great deal from them. They were kind of worried because the night before they'd only had like 6 people sign up for it. But somehow, against all odds and charging £6 per person, they managed to rake in £755. I'm not quite sure how that breakdown works because 755 is not a multiple of 6. But either way, they've done a fantastic job and I was genuinely impressed. So yeah, honestly, well done, Natalie and Jack. You did a good job and you've definitely made it through to week 2. Shay and Samina decided to go for Nigerian mocktails. It was an idea that I wasn't so sure would work because they were charging bottles of it for £6.50. It just seemed a little, what's the word? Steep, I think is the word I would use. I wouldn't want a mocktail for £6.50 when essentially a mocktail is just like a bunch of fruit juices. It's not actually got any alcohol in it, so why am I paying that much? But they managed to rake in £731. So honestly, I gotta hand it to them. They absolutely smashed it. Like, well over double. At least 200 over double, which is really good. So they should be very, very impressed with themselves. Actually, it's not at least 200 over, is it? No, it is. Yeah, 500 to 700. Wow, the maths is not mathing today. The brain is not braining. Let's move on. Radhika and Seema decided to do a walking tour of London, looking at all of the immigrant, not hotspots, but like the history of different places in London and the sort of story of immigration, things like that. I think this would have been something that I would have been like, yeah, this actually sounds quite interesting because they clearly seem to know a lot about it, a lot more than I expected them to. And I gotta say, I don't think I would have been displeased with a sort of £25 walking tour. It's not overly steep like some of the London ones are. And it was good. I thought they did really, really well. They managed to make £698. So I gotta hand it to them. They did do a fantastic, fantastic job. Yeah, and they're through to next week. So like, what more could you ask for? Up next, we have Jeff and Jamie. Now, Jeff and Jamie decided to do a cocktail masterclass for their money. They charged, I think it was £25 per person, which again, for a cocktail masterclass, isn't absolutely horrendous, and it's probably something I would have done. And they made their money back. They got £682.43. So they definitely did do a good job. And from all accounts of what we saw of the cocktail masterclass, they seem to have a lot of praise from the people that were participating in it. So it wasn't like a silly little apprentice scheme where everyone wants their money back. This was actually something that people were genuinely like, yeah, this is actually quite cool. Up next, we have Gabrielle and Marisha. Now, they're twins, and they decided to do like workout, body work things, exercise in the park kind of thing. They charged £10 per session per person, I think it was, and they managed to get £554.60. So we're really cutting it fine to the wire now. They only made £54.60 extra than they should have, and we're getting down to the wire now. We've only got 3 more people who made it in, and then we've got 2 people who are unfortunately taking the L for this episode. So up next, we have Cosmo and Louis. Cosmo and Louis had a really interesting idea. Their interesting idea was to take flowers, arrange them into nice bouquets, sell them to companies, restaurants for £75 per bouquet. And hopefully if they sold like 6 or 7, they'd have their money back. They sold 2, and then they resorted to walking around London selling flowers. And it was a little bit chaotic and a little bit like, are they even going to make it? I don't even know. They didn't even know walking in. They hadn't done any of the maths. They were like, ah. But fortunately, they did. They managed to make £54.43 extra than they should have, given them a total of £554.43. Their idea was incredibly ridiculous, but I'm glad that it did work out for them because I think they're interesting and they've got some interesting ideas. I just don't know whether it's going to turn out very well. I don't have a lot of faith in them, if I'm being 100% honest. It was a little bit chaotic and a little bit messy, but yeah, I mean if it does its job, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So now we're getting into the 4 people that I think had a lot of airtime in this episode, mostly because they were the ones cutting it close to the wire. We had Dale and Harvey. Now they are a dad and son. We got to hear their backstory. You'll see them up there on the left of Sue Perkins. They are an interesting pair because the dad decided to do a car wash, which I thought was, okay, that's an interesting idea. That's a good one. But then they decided to hold it off-road in an industrial park. And it was like, oh, there's actually no cars at all. They decided to dress up in superhero costumes because it just gave them an edge over competition. Yeah, it didn't really go as expected. I think they expected a lot more cars than they got, and it resorted to the dad having to go out on the street and basically beg people to come in, which was really funny. And I thought they did a decent job. It was clear that there was tension between the two of them. They were really desperate to make this work, and it just wasn't working the way they wanted it to. And I think Dale was the son, or Harvey was the son. I think Dale was the dad. Harvey just kept snapping at his dad, and I was like, oh, this is a bit awkward. But either way, they did manage to make a good amount. They made £533.65. They very narrowly scraped past, considering they were selling their car wash for about £10, £15 per person, and they got about 30 cars roughly. Yeah, they narrowly scraped past. But you know what? It is what it is. Maybe they'll have a better week next week. I'm hoping so. I just love seeing them all come up with these like ridiculous half-baked schemes. They're quite funny, actually. So the last pair that made it through to next week was Shana and Talia. And I gotta say, these two have a special place in my heart. I think Shana's the mum, Talia's the daughter. Shana had a brain condition, has 2 brain conditions, and she was telling us how she finds it hard to do certain things because when Talia was young, she had such bad she had some brain conditions that were so bad that she was left paralyzed. She had to learn to talk, walk, and use her hands again, which is absolutely crazy. I could not imagine that. But the fact that she's come back, she's fought, she's fighting, and she stayed up all night baking them damn cupcakes and cookies, and they just made it by £3.99. They were panicking that they'd done their maths wrong and they hadn't sold enough, but they managed to get £503.99. These two have a special place in here because I do want them to go far. I want them to do the best they possibly can, and at the moment I am expecting them to. I really hope they do well because because I just think they are fantastic people and I'm enjoying watching them. So it's time to talk about the 2 that unfortunately did not make it. So Callum and Paulette, this grandson and nan duo, unfortunately they got fucked over by the weather. Like, absolutely fucked over. Their plan was We're going to buy a load of drinks like Fanta, water. We're going to cool them, sell them at the beach. Wonderful. What a great plan. It's so warm today. What did it do the next day? Absolutely piss it down. Absolutely piss it down. Like, you could not make it up. I was sat there like, actually, I think at this point I would give up. I'd have to. Because what else am I doing? What else am I planning on doing? Because I've had such horrendous luck. Horrendous. They did manage to make £348.02, which I don't know how much they had after they bought all the drinks, but like, if they made that amount of money just from selling drinks on the beach, that's absolutely crazy, because they were only selling them for roughly £2 a pop, so it wasn't even like they were selling them for massive amounts. I was impressed that they managed to make that much on a rainy day in, I think it was Bournemouth. Was it Bournemouth? I can't remember. But the last couple just made a bad investment for their idea. Debbie and Barry only made £116.33 from their initial £250. So they actually lost money, which is wild to me. Because what they decided to do was sell sunglasses, bespoke sunglasses. And they looked really naff and tacky. They were about £5 a pop. They bought them for. And they were planning on selling them for £18. But what also didn't help them is that the market they went to had another person selling very similar glasses for £2. So it was like, fuck. We've just absolutely mugged ourselves off on national television trying to sell these sunglasses. Oh well, at least we had fun. I gotta say, Sue Perkins is actually a very, very interesting. She gives me Claudia Winkleman energy when it comes to this show, and I'm enjoying having her present this show. I think she's great. I'm really enjoying it. More of this, please. I would happily watch this for about 12 weeks. It's only on for 8, sadly, or 7, because there's 2 episodes this week. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all of them YouTube things that you guys do so well. And I will make sure to like, comment. I will make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You need to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. So, without much further ado, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next episode, whenever that may be. But until then, bye now. Keep on ranting. See ya.